Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you tonight at 11.
The search for clues in a deadly New York City plane crash. Survivors tell their stories. Libya says it's now ready to turn over the Pan Am 103 bombing suspect under one condition. And the money crunch. Tonight, tax changes you need to know about before you file. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. I'm Connie Chung, sitting in tonight for Dan Rather. Federal investigators don't know yet what caused a U.S. air jet to crash on takeoff from New York's LaGuardia Airport last night. The flight recorders were sent to Washington today. But they do know it was a miracle 24 people survived. At least 26 were killed. Mark Phillips begins our coverage.
From out of the smoldering wreckage, investigators are trying to piece together what happened. They do know that in the snowstorm that delayed Flight 405, it had been de-iced twice, the last time about a half hour before its attempted takeoff. They know the plane began what would appear to be a normal takeoff roll. The pilot had gone beyond the point where he could have tried to abort if there'd been a problem at the time. The plane became briefly airborne, but then dipped to the left. The wing seems to have made contact, and the plane then crashed back down and skidded off the runway and into the surrounding water. This soon after a crash, investigators look at all the factors.
When we look at the weather factors and the operational factors, we'll be looking at issues such as de-icing.
The Dutch-built Fokker 28 has an excellent safety record, but ice can still be a problem.
When the ice builds up on these wings here, it changes the shape. And when that happens, the lift isn't as good.
And makes it heavier.
Yeah, in a critical situation, it doesn't have enough lift to lift the airplane up in some cases, and this may have caused it.
The layout of LaGuardia Airport, with relatively short runways extending on piers over water, may have contributed to the death toll.
The number one problem with LaGuardia is it takes away most of our room for error. It takes away most of the safety buffer.
If the plane has to go off the edge of the runway and there's nothing but water there, then you've got a serious problem.
Investigators will be trying to determine if allowing a half hour between de-icing and takeoff is too long. And they'll have a real advantage in this inquiry. In addition to the flight information in the black boxes, they'll have a surviving cockpit crew member with likely an all too vivid recollection of what happened. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Washington.
In spite of the ordeal of fire and ice and water, nearly half of the people on board Flight 405 lived to tell about it. Jacqueline Adams has some of their amazing stories of survival.
I saw an explosion out the window because I saw this bright orange light, twisting metal, and scraping sounds, and the feeling of being thrown about, not believing that it was me.
Soap opera actor Richard Lawson was one of 47 passengers bound for Cleveland last night who was troubled by the 2-hour snow delay. Indeed, once U.S. Air Flight 405 skidded off the LaGuardia Airport runway and flipped over, it became the flight from hell.
It was all busted up. It was twisted metal, broken fiberglass. It was really a horror.
Hundreds of rescue workers rushed to the crash site, where Lawson and accountant Robert Spear somehow made it out of the upside-down wreckage and through both flames and the waist-deep, frigid waters of Flushing Bay.
It seemed like the cockpit area was on fire, the whole front of the plane. There was just a lot of smoke and flames.
I was literally trapped upside down in the plane, face down. And I remember thinking, of all the ways to die, not underwater. And then I saw a face and a hand reach into the hole of the fuselage and says, "Give me your hand." And he took my hand and he pulled me through the hole.
For rescue workers, it was the worst of all possible worlds.
Snow, the visibility, the fire, the smoke, the injuries, the water, the debris, the baggage floating. It was bizarre.
The pilot's body was found upside down, strapped to his seat, but both the co-pilot and one flight attendant were among the survivors. Doctors at a local hospital treated burns and broken bones, and one grateful young woman who did not want to be identified.
No, I was one of the luckiest people on earth. I am. I've got a guardian angel sitting on my shoulder. I can't believe I actually walked away from this.
Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
Officially, the U.S. military still refuses to say why a big C-130 cargo plane plowed into a motel and restaurant last month in Evansville, Indiana. But CBS News Pentagon correspondent David Martin confirmed today that crash investigators are blaming pilot error. The Kentucky Air National Guard pilot reportedly was simulating an engine failure just before the crash. 16 people were killed. Under the threat of UN sanctions, Libya said today it will hand over 2 suspects in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103, but not to the United States or Britain, where they are under indictment. Instead, the Gaddafi regime said it will turn the men over to the Arab League. Correspondent Bill Plant has the reaction from the U.S. State Department. Bill?
Well, Connie, the Bush administration greeted the Libyan offer to turn over the 2 Lockerbie suspects to the Arab League with skepticism bordering on contempt. The U.S. sees this as just another in a long line of delaying tactics designed to stall rather than comply with the UN resolution, which orders Gaddafi's government to turn the 2 men over for trial by the U.S. or Britain, the 2 men accused of bombing Pan Am Flight 103.
As you know, we don't believe that Libya has complied, that Libya knows well what they have to do.
The 2 suspects are believed responsible for the deaths of 441 people in the explosion of Pan Am 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland in 1988, and a French airliner a year later. But Libya has refused, despite the UN resolution, to surrender them. As a result, the U.S., Britain, and France are trying to get the UN to impose economic sanctions on Libya, which is trying to dodge that bullet with the offer to turn the men over to the Arab League.
We hope that can put an end to this unnecessary confrontation.
Well, that's not likely. The Libyans are taking the issue now to the International Court of Justice. Washington fears that between the World Court and the Arab League, Libya could continue to delay this for just years. So, officials here vow to continue pressing for sanctions. The evidence against these guys, said one senior official, is so definitive that there's no way we're going to walk away from this. Connie?
All right. Thank you, Bill Plant. UN officials say Saddam Hussein is now cooperating with UN teams in destroying Iraq's most dangerous weapons. Inspectors have been examining pieces of Scud missiles, which the Iraqis claim they destroyed and buried last summer. But the UN inspectors say it will be some time before they can verify that all the Scuds have been scrapped. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, growing pains for more American kids. And why some Americans who want kids are breathing easier.
I used to take aspirin to relieve minor arthritis pain until my doctor told me 1 Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin and is gentler to my stomach. For my pain, I prefer Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
What does this woman know about dieting that maybe you don't? That you don't have to drink your breakfast, because a serving of Kellogg's Special K actually has fewer calories than a glass of the leading diet shake. In fact, the entire Special K breakfast, including fruit, skim milk, and coffee, has fewer calories than the diet shake. So, if you're going to have something special when you're trying to lose weight, shouldn't it be something special with fewer calories? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
Lots of margarines say they have a buttery taste, even when there's no butter in them. Kraft Touch-A-Butter spread has creamy, rich butter in it. Just a touch. Kraft Touch-A-Butter. A touch of real butter makes a real difference.
A new snapshot today of the health and well-being of children in this country. For a growing number of them, it's not a pretty picture. Eric Engberg reports on the young face of poverty in America.
The way America treats its children from newborns to teens has deteriorated to danger levels, according to a study out today. This premature baby, born to a cocaine-using mother in a Washington hospital, weighed 1 pound 10 ounces at birth. Such underweight births, often a precursor to serious health problems, are on the rise across the country.
Here, over the last few years, we have doubled this to almost 15%.
Other yardsticks for measuring child well-being, compiled by the child advocacy group Kids Count, point to trouble. While the death rate for infants has declined, the teen years have gotten more dangerous. Violent teen deaths climbed 11% in 5 years. Reason? Soaring rates for murder and suicide. More children are having children. There were 76,000 more babies born to single teens in 1989 than in 1980. The number of children living in single-parent families has grown by 2 million in the decade. And the study found 1 in 5 children was poor, an increase of 22% during the 80s.
That if we don't turn these numbers around in the decade, I mean every American, regardless of age or their family status, we're going to be in deep trouble.
As child poverty has grown, social workers have encountered more homeless children.
They forget how to laugh. They just sit. They cry a lot. We have a lot of kids that cry. They've lost a sense of trust.
Americans are very aware that something is wrong in the way children are treated. A poll released with today's survey found that adults, by a margin of 2 to 1, think today's kids have it worse than their parents did. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
In the presidential race, Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton is banking on the Connecticut primary tomorrow to help him lock up the Democratic nomination. But Clinton is taking more heat from rival Jerry Brown and facing more questions about his past. Richard Threlkeld has the latest.
Bill Clinton was on the road in Connecticut today answering a batch of new allegations. Item, the Los Angeles Times says that as governor, Clinton helped to get a state contract for this man, Dan Lassiter, who was later convicted of dealing cocaine. Clinton later pardoned him. Today, Clinton's campaign said the governor had no role in awarding that contract and that the pardon was a routine administrative act. Item, the Washington Post said Clinton accepted free air transportation on some business trips from the owner of this multi-million-dollar chicken processing plant, which is one of Arkansas's biggest polluters. Clinton says those trips are all on the public record and he doesn't consider them inappropriate. Item, as recently as last week, Clinton played golf at a Little Rock country club of which he's an honorary member, which has no black members. Clinton admits that was a mistake, but insists it is no blemish on his civil rights record.
I have lived and worked an integrated life with a commitment to equal opportunity.
All this is new ammunition for Clinton's remaining Democratic rival, Jerry Brown, who has stepped up his attacks on Clinton's character.
The idea of going and playing golf in the middle of a presidential campaign at an Arkansas golf club that has no black members is incredible.
Today, the Democratic Party chairman said enough already.
When Jerry Brown conducts personal attacks on Bill Clinton, it not only damages his own candidacy, but frankly hurts our ability to beat George Bush.
Clinton, meantime, is now airing a campaign ad attacking Jerry Brown.
So next time Jerry Brown says he's fighting for the people, ask him which people and which Jerry Brown.
The Democratic establishment still has the jitters about Clinton's electability, but the best test of electability is getting elected, and Bill Clinton keeps winning primaries. Next test, tomorrow's primary in Connecticut. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
Stay with us now for more CBS News, including important news about your taxes.
Excite your husband at a quality comfort Clarion Sleep Hotel, where weekend rates start at $29 a night. Men just love to save money.
To qualify for special weekend rates, call 1-800-4CHOICE and reserve a room.
I need a laxative that can work dependably.
Doxadan can.
But can it be gentle?
Doxadan can. Doxadan works dependably overnight with a special ingredient for gentle relief.
Dependable, yes. Gentle, yes.
Doxadan can.
Healthy. A lot of foods are wearing that name. And yeah, they may have the numbers to back it up. But do they have a taste that'll make you want to eat them? Now this is Healthy Favorite Smoked Turkey from Oscar Mayer. This is the real thing. Nothing funny. It's real turkey breast. It's naturally low in fat and only 12 calories a slice. And the taste? Well, the proof's right here. New Healthy Favorites from Oscar Mayer. Who else would you trust?
In 1984, there was only one company in the world that made a minivan. Since then, 6 companies have followed. However, if you want one that offers anti-lock brakes, all-wheel drive, a driver's airbag, and a built-in child seat, there's only one company you can turn to.
We're ready.
The company that invented the minivan in the first place, Chrysler. In this business, you lead, follow, or get out of the way.
4
girls murdered in cold blood. A town's nightmare. A cop's obsession. Who killed these girls? 48 Hours, Wednesday.
The Supreme Court agreed today to take up a case that could affect thousands of you at tax time. The court will decide under what circumstances you may deduct an in-home office if you spend most of your workday outside the home. The deadline for filing your 1991 returns is just 23 days away. And all this week, the CBS Evening News reports a special series. Tonight, correspondent Ray Brady tells you what's different this year in the money crunch, your taxes.
Gosh, Jan, I don't think that's deductible.
Watch carefully. You're in a tax attorney's office where you're about to see Janet Lowry, income a little over $40,000 a year. You're about to see her go into tax shock.
2,606, 36, and 36, and 1,041. Above what my estimates are? Above what your estimates are. That's impossible. No, it's not.
The message is clear. When you start making out your 1991 taxes, bring money. There have been a lot of small changes in the tax laws over the years, sleepers, that are now adding up to bigger bills for many taxpayers who make more than $30,000 a year.
A lot of the taxpayers that I see are paying between $600 and $2,000 more in taxes.
That's a big jump.
It's quite a big jump.
There's some good news. If your adjusted gross income isn't more than $100,000, your exemption's higher, $2,150 for you and each dependent. And if you don't itemize, the standard deduction is up, $3,400 for a single filer, $5,700 if married, filing jointly. But tear up that credit card, interest and fees on that, car loans and the like, not one penny of deduction anymore. Only interest on a mortgage or a home equity loan's deductible.
What I'm recommending to people to do is to explore a home equity line of credit so that they can use that to buy their car and still deduct the interest.
The government's also tightened on-the-job business expenses for middle-income taxpayers. Those policemen make around $30,000 a year. For many, their uniforms won't be deductible anymore. Carpenters, plumbers, and similar professions will also be hit by disappearing deductions, just like Janet Pryor was in her real estate job.
Before I had more areas that I could deduct within.
Some taxpayers without company pension plans can save on taxes by taking out an individual retirement account. That's $2,000 a year going to your IRA, not to the IRS. One final tip before you mail in your taxes. It may be wise not to use the label that the IRS sends you. The taxmen deny it, but many tax preparers feel the numbers on that label could be coded and might set off an audit. Ray Brady, CBS News, The Money Crunch.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, thousands of dying birds. Has something fouled the water?
Good morning, America!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wake up, you sleepyhead. Good morning to you and you and you. Get up, get out of bed.
Every morning all across America, over 50 million people come to life with Delta faucets.
Good morning, good morning.
Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Everybody needs some money sometime.
To send money fast, call 1-800-CALL-CASH or come to any Western Union location.
In my heart,
Western Union, fastest way to send money.
Hey, is Tegrin shampoo on sale?
Nope, that's their new lower price.
But it's still just as tough on dandruff, right?
Sure, Tegrin doesn't do less, just cost less.
Sounds right to me.
Tegrin, the right dandruff shampoo at the right price.
My hemorrhoids hurt so much, I was afraid I needed surgery. But my doctor said they weren't serious, and it's time I used Preparation H.
Preparation H helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues and often relieves pain, itching, and burning for hours. Doctor recommended Preparation H.
And now, from the makers of Preparation H, with a formula developed by a surgeon, comes new, soothing, alcohol-free Preparation H cleansing tissues. They clean and refresh after hemorrhoid attacks. New cleansing tissues from the makers of doctor-recommended Preparation H.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Paula Zahn. It robs you of your memory and can wipe out your savings.
Find out about the progress of the fight against Alzheimer's disease tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
Tonight's Eye on America is about a new approach to an old and very common problem. 1 out of 6 couples who want to have children need help. Health correspondent Edie Magnus reports on a new program aimed at making the couples relax at the most stressful time of their lives.
I think it was the worst time of my life. Every month it gets worse. You have this cycle of hope, followed by disappointment, followed by hope, followed by disappointment.
Cheryl and David Kaiser are describing the rhythm of despair, a rhythm well known to any couple desperate to have a child.
It's the kind of pain that accumulates. It doesn't get easier.
I'd actually convinced myself that I was going to have a miserable life without children.
After 2.5 years of grueling infertility treatment, Cheryl and David were reaching an emotional crisis point, so they decided to take a breather.
I said, I'm going to take this 12-week course. I'm not going to worry about trying to conceive. I'm not going to worry about making love. I didn't keep temperature charts. When I left the class, our last class, 5 of us were pregnant. About a third of the patients who go through our program conceive within 6 months of starting the program. And we don't know why this is happening. Breathing in, peace and calm.
The course at Boston's Deaconess Hospital is called the Mind-Body Program for Infertility. It's a support group which offers training in the one area that's all but obliterated from their lives: relaxation.
Your blood pressure decreases, your rate of breathing decreases, you're in a different physical state. And sometimes you get pregnant. You may, yeah. We don't know if there's a relationship or not.
There's no scientific evidence that stress causes infertility, or that reducing stress by methods such as going to a support group can cause anyone to conceive. But researchers who are just now starting to examine the connection say the numbers are intriguing.
Fertility specialist Dr. Ronald Burke studied 102 couples, all of whom were undergoing various medical infertility treatments.
70-some-odd% of patients attending a support group achieved a pregnancy, whereas less than 30% of those couples who did not attend the support group achieved the pregnancy.
List everything in your life that brings you joy.
How could a support group make the difference? For now, there are only theories that perhaps stress and the loss of control couples experience when they can't produce a child is a more powerful force than anyone realizes, and that through the process of sharing, of letting go, couples can get that control back.
Patients who seemed more in control of their lives were more likely to achieve a pregnancy than those patients who had who felt less control.
One of the things that the course taught it was just, instead of trying to make it happen, let's just let it happen.
What happened to Cheryl and David was they had a son, now 2.5. But experts caution that the Kaiser story should not be seen as a reason to give up on medical treatments for infertility.
Support without technology is not going to bring about optimal success rate, and technology without psychological support is not going to bring about optimal success rate.
And as Barbara Willanitz understands better than anyone, even the combination offers no guarantees. She took the Mind-Body course, too, along with in vitro fertilization, but she did not get pregnant.
I didn't really have any expectations, and they weren't given to me that it would increase chances for pregnancy. In fact, some of the people in the support group did get pregnant, and that was wonderful, but it wasn't really the primary goal.
Barbara and her husband Peter credit support groups with helping them reach the decision to adopt their son, Chris, and helping them gain appreciation for parenting.
We have a special joy of having it all work out. It just took a little extra time.
The Kaisers are trying again to conceive, and Cheryl is again going through infertility treatments. But she's taking that relaxation course again, too. They are now confirmed believers that every little bit helps.
Thank you. Whether it was or wasn't true that the course helped me, it made me believe that it did.
For us, in Boston, Edie Magnus for Eye on America.
Which one did you
On the third Sunday in August, this place turns from a hard-working ranch town into a hard-riding rodeo town. And folks like us take it on the chin, in our backs, and about everywhere else. That's why most of us here rely on Tylenol. With all the choices Doc Hall has, He gives us the same thing he takes himself.
From small-town doctors to big city hospitals, Tylenol's the pain reliever America counts on.
Hang on now!
It's the one hospitals use most.
It's Domino's new, better-tasting pizza. More melted cheese, big fat toppings, tender, tasty to crust.
More melted cheese. Big better toppings.
Tender, tastier crust. Try a medium with unlimited toppings now just $9.99.
Here's the problem. You need to remodel your house, but you don't know if you'll ever get to do it. Because in between need and get is a gap called not enough money. Well, it's easy to bridge that gap between need and get. Just go to First Interstate Bank, because First Interstate offers home improvement loans, car loans, and secured lines of credit at some of our lowest rates in years. So to go from need to get, just go to First Interstate Bank, and we'll help you get what you need.
Draw from the facts. There's a way to maintain regularity without drugs. It starts here. A high-fiber diet, which can include Kellogg's All Bran, an excellent source of wheat bran fiber, may help you stay regular, drug-free. And there's a lot to be said for that, naturally. A high-fiber diet and Kellogg's All Bran for drug-free regularity.
Can you believe it when some margarines say buttery taste and there's no butter in them? Kraft Touch of Butter spread has rich, creamy butter in it. Just a touch. Kraft Touch of Butter. A touch of real butter makes a real difference.
Something strange is going on in California, and so far there's no explanation. A common bird is dying in large numbers. Theories range from a natural cycle to an unknown disease to pollution in a huge saltwater lake near the rich farmlands of Southern California. Ron Allen has the story.
On the shores of California's largest lake, the Salton Sea, a lone-eared grebe struggles with a mysterious killer. Already, more than 120,000 of these tiny water birds have been ravaged by this dance of death, and no one knows why.
For all these birds at one time to be hit with this die-off is very complicated. It's still very much a mystery.
Volunteers retrieve thousands of carcasses, hoping for clues that will solve the worst bird kill in the United States in recent years.
It's not pleasant, but if you don't think about it, it's okay.
The greatest mystery is why only grebes are dying. But researchers do know these birds are very sensitive to contamination in the water and soil, and fear what's happening to them could be a signal of what's to come. The Salton Sea is like a huge catch basin. Most of its water arrives from irrigation drains on nearby farms and from rivers that bring pollutants like raw sewage and soap sud-like phosphates from Mexico. Tests have found high levels of a contaminant called selenium in the dead birds. Experts say that doesn't solve the case, but it is an ominous piece to the puzzle. That could mean the water is the culprit.
If it's a selenium problem, water quality has to be addressed. We may see other birds also having the same problems later on.
The Salton Sea is a desert oasis for thousands of migratory birds, some of them already endangered species. But now this habitat could be dying too.
Clean telecast for free. How can we do it? Viewer support makes it all possible. And once again, you responded generously to our appeals for your contributions. Now is the perfect time to honor your commitment to OPB. Just write out your check for the amount of your pledge and drop it in the mail. Thank you so very much. And here's the address.
Funding for the McNeil-Lehrer News Hour has been provided by ODS Health Plan, the group medical plan that meets the needs of more than 600,000 Oregonians by providing a broad range of medical and dental coverage and responsive service.